So today we're going to be working into the abdominal area in a variety of different ways. We have the rectus abdominis, which is our first band of muscle, which attaches just above the pubic bone. That's where it begins, and then it comes up and attaches up above into the ribs, kind of right where they meet and a little bit out. So it's our famous six pack. Excuse me, I'm going to close the door. I know. Hey, sorry. Good job, but no. Okay. Sorry, you all. It would have been a lot of barking. So now the thing about the rectus abdominis, we all want this really strong, the kind of image out there is to have a nice six pack, and everybody's contracting this muscle all the time. Also, our lifestyle, we sit in front of a computer, we basically bend over. So what happens is the muscle actually loses full length, even when you're fit very often, and it starts to pull the rib cage down. When the rib cage is pulled down, the diaphragm is restricted. When the diaphragm is restricted, the lungs can't expand fully, and then all the muscles around the rib cage, the smaller muscles, start to contract and atrophy very often. So it's got a very collapsing kind of long-term effect, the whole abdominal area. So remember, we are stretching a muscle, but we're stretching it with a different perspective of putting pressure to open up the adhesions and slowly lengthen them up and create length. One other thing before we start, as we get close and in and around the ribs, be very, very sensitive not to put full pressure in. Let those ribs get used to the pressure. Very often, that's a delicate area. To be honest, you could break a rib if you don't do it with sensitivity. This is very strengthening on the bones. It builds strong bones and it builds flexible bones. But honor the process and the journey. So we will start. You can either work with a black ball or with a larger ball. If you've never done abdominal work, I very often recommend a slightly bigger ball to help you get familiar with it and have less intensity. So we are going to start on one side. So you all know where your pubic bone is. It's this bony structure down below. So we'll start actually on the bone to feel it, then move off to one side of the bone and slide up. We want to get into the edge just where it's all attaching up. So we'll stimulate the bone and then the tendon, and then we're very slowly going to move up, close to the diaphragm, lifting, and then moving up into the ribs. So that will be, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So get yourself, first of all, just on the pubic bone. And a lot of this is up on the elbows. So if you have, for some of you, if this becomes tiring, you can get a ball. Notice I put another ball to help support the body. So you want to feel the pressure of the ball into the bony structure of your pubic bone. I don't think there's any men here, but you just move anything you need out of the way. That bone is as available for men as it is for women. So in this position, big breath in, just get length. As you breathe out, see if you can push a little bit into the ball. You're in the center right now. Breathe in again. And as you breathe out, press into the ball. See if you can get a sense of pressing right from your sacrum. Now move very slightly. I'm moving away this way. So I'm moving to the right, so the ball is moving to the left side of the pubic bone. And again, press in and press out and press and sink and soften. If it helps you, you can even drop down like this, and maybe it's too much. So you relax. Breathe in again, deep breath in. Breathe out and press into the ball. You're softening the bone and you're beginning to soften the attachments that come into the bone. Pubic bone can be very sensitive, by the way. a lot of things affect that bone and it's never really dealt with, and kind of all of the impact taken out of it, because we have childbearing, we have exercise, we have falls, we have sex. There is so much about that area that can create a huge amount of jammed up energy. Now, as you're sinking down, very slowly move. I'm using my feet to move down, and now you're slipping off the bone right in front of it. There's like a little valley. That's where the tendons of the rectus abdominis start. And that's where it inserts. That's where it begins. So you want to feel this. Sink into it as best you can. Really let the body wrap around that area. You're softening the tension, the tendon, and you're softening the attachments. Big breath in. Literally push into the ball with your stomach. And if it's very sensitive, that's a way you can control the pressure. And breathing out, see if you can relax and let that ball dig in. You're actually going to be affecting your organs as well and lifting them up. Now, from this sunk down position with your feet, you roll backwards and the ball rolls a little bit up. Let yourself sink down. Big breath in. As you breathe in, push into the ball a little bit with your abdomen. Lengthen a little bit, and as you breathe out, let yourself sink deeply down into that ball. Some of you may find that this is a nicer place to be. Breathing in, breathing out, sinking and deepening all around that area. And one more time, breathing in, pushing into the ball, breathing out, seeing if you can go a little bit deeper down and then roll a little bit backwards and the ball will come a little bit up. And again, breath in. So I'm not at my navel area yet, but I'm closer to it. Breathing out, breathing in. I will often lift a little bit. As I breathe out, I sink and I imagine lengthening the ribs away from the hips and sinking down, letting that ball, be wrapped around. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. I'm really stretching the front of my ribs away. People's posture, by the way, improves phenomenally from doing this. It means that they can hold their upper body up. Now, with this ball sinking in, whoa, I'm tight right here, roll up towards the waist area. So I'm just kind of in the side of my belly button, you could say, around that area. For me, it's a bit more tender now. Breathing in, lengthening, breathing out. As I go down now, I can feel how I can lengthen out even more. Breathing in. Lifting and lengthening and opening the chest, breathing out. And one more time, breathing in. And breathing out, sinking into the ball, moving up. Now we're getting close to above the navel. We're starting to affect the diaphragm. For some of you, they may even feel like it's affecting your breathing a bit. So just relax. If it's too much, you lift up off. Just be very sensitive to what's going on in your body now, because this is a massive area of congestion. It can be brought about even from sitting, just a lifestyle of sitting a lot, driving a lot, watching TV, computer work, crunches, Pilates, it's all there. Breathing in. Push into the ball, breathing out, imagine pulling the front ribs away and wrapping around that ball. Let it sink in and soften. It will release a huge amount of congestion in your back. Breathing in, breathing out. You may feel this radiating in a whole bunch of different areas. I can feel it all the way down to my hip flexors. One more time, breathing in. Lengthening, breathing out, sinking down. Now, when you lift up, the ball should not be at the ribs yet. Really pull the ribs away from the ball. Open up your diaphragm as much as you can and very carefully go a little bit higher. This is, you don't want to be on the ribs yet. You want to be maybe going inside the ribs or just under the diaphragm. Very tight area. Remember, you're on the side of the midline. You're not in the middle. So you're not going into the place where the ribs meet. It's called the xiphoid process. Really see if you can get a sense of that diaphragm or rib widening around the ball. Breathing in, hold the ribs forward and see if you can wrap around the ball. Breath in, breath out. Very intense. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, lift and lighten off the ball. I'm going to move up so you can see. When you roll onto your ribs, do not go in full pressure. Lift up, lighten, and roll down. Feel the ball on the rib. It's on the side rib. I hope you can see. You don't want to go full pressure down. You want to feel the ball and very gently put pressure into it. This is why harsh balls for this work is they don't work. Breath in, inflate the rib cage as much as you can. Lift up, and as you breathe out, imagine widening the ribs a little bit. So you're pulling them wider and just softly, gently sinking in. So we're going to the attachments, but we're not going full way. One more time, lifting up so you completely control the pressure. If something feels like this is all I want to give my body, trust it. Trust it, trust it, trust it. As your body opens and regains its resiliency and elasticity, it can take a huge amount of force. This is why children can run and fall, and an adult breaks and the child just falls down, goes, "Ah, mommy," and jumps up and runs along, because they're still very elastic and the bones are softer and stronger. Moving up a little bit more, so now I'm on the ribs fully, just softening down. Breathing in, pushing into the ball a little bit, breathing out, sinking. Notice that it almost gets a sense of widening the ribs as well, sideways. Breathing in, breathing out, and then roll off the ball. And just take a moment to see what you feel like between the side you've worked and the side you haven't worked. Sometimes if it's a group of people or I'm walking around, it's dramatic because the side that's been just worked on is longer and broader and wider, and the side that's not been worked is still contracted and pulled down. So huge amount of benefits to be had, including just giving you more room for your organs and your stomach. People want a tight stomach so they'll be flat, not realizing you need the space for the organs to be in the right cavity. So if you're always here, guess what? There's not much room for everything. So we're going back onto our pubic bone. I'm actually going to shift this way so you can sustain the same. You can see the bone. So on the pubic bone, stimulating the pubic bone, just feeling it, just be in the middle, just to stimulate that bone. Big breath in. You can even see if you can roll a little bit forward so it kind of takes the bone and lengthens it downward a little bit. And as you breathe out, push into it. If there is sensitivity, this work will diminish the sensitivity over time. You won't have pain. All this pain that we experience when we start to open our body, it does dissipate out because we're actually restoring the elasticity, mobility, removing the trauma from the body. It's amazing. Now, move to the side. So the ball is going onto the pubic bone on the side that we're now working. Breathing in. Breathing out, using your legs, your abdomen, your pelvis to push down and create pressure. Sometimes I will also lengthen the leg to have even more pressure in there. Breathing in, breathing out, pressing into that area. One more time, breathing in, Breathing out, pressing in. Now slowly move backwards. The ball will move up. You fall off, you roll off the pubic bone into that valley just above it. This is where the muscles attach. This is where the tendons are attaching, where the muscle becomes a tendon and then attaches in. And we want to stimulate that attachment. Big breath in. Breathing out, see how much you can melt into that area and press into it. Breathing in, breathing out, melting into the area. One more time, breathing in, breathing out, melting in, sinking, and now staying as low as you're able to. Move down with your body towards your feet, and the ball moves up an inch or two. So now we're really in the pelvic area. Breath in, push into the ball if you want to, and as you breathe out, see if you can sink and lengthen and let go and wrap around the ball. Breathing in. Breathing out, you may even start to be able to feel the shaft of the muscle, but that doesn't matter whether you do or you don't. I'm sure you're feeling something. Breathing in. The only time a person may have trouble feeling something, this is usually extremely tense work, is the ball is very soft and maybe they need it to be up on a prop to be able to penetrate. And then move down. So the ball is moving up. So those are the people I would give a bigger ball to. Breathing in, breathing out, sinking down. Eventually the ball would go all the way towards the spinal column in the back, on the sides. Breathing in, breathing out. Remember, you're just tracking the rectus abdominis. And you're not moving to the side. You're just, if there was a line down the middle of your body, you're just to the side of that line. And breathing out. Sinking in, rolling backwards. So I'm not at my navel yet, but I'm just below it. This is where I want to start really focusing on elongation. As I breathe in, I also lengthen forward, looking to create as much length, and as I breathe out, I try to melt over the ball, releasing any holding tightness in the muscles. Breathing in, breathing out. Oh, I just found that point. It was a little bit to the side of the muscle, widening and softening it one more time. Breathing in. Lengthening the body forward, breathing out, sinking, and slowly, incrementally wiggling backwards, and the ball comes to the side of my navel area. Starts to be more intense for me, maybe different for each of us. Big breath in. This is where I start to really stretch the ribs forward. So I'm not looking to go up high. I'm looking to open up this whole front area of my body. And as I breathe out, soften and sink over the ball. Big breath in, lengthening up. You can imagine how much this muscle can affect the pelvis, can affect your hips, hugely affect the lower back, and actually affect the shoulders and head, because if it's too tight, it's pulling the body forward and down. And breathing out. And then from here, move further up. This is where you want to be sensitive to where your diaphragm is, where the ribs are. You want to make sure you're pulling your ribs way forward so the ball can cradle up underneath the diaphragm or below it. You're not in the ribs, but there's a ton of attachments coming in here. So big breath in. Expand the rib cage as much as you possibly can. Expand your diaphragm. See if you can sink down and feel the ribs draping over the ball, but in front of it, so that it's kind of tucked in under, if possible. Breathing in. Breathing out, widening and down. One more time. Breathing in, lengthening that area, snuggling the ball in as much as you're able to. As you breathe out, take your time. Now, for some of you, this can be so intense, you don't go very far, just revisit this material more than once, but I highly recommend taking a break of a few days sometimes, just see how you feel. It's usually a lot is going on from this, including a lot of emotions, a lot of digestion, very, very healing, very powerful work. And now, lifting up, lightly over, whoa, I don't have any more room to move down. Lightly place the ball kind of at the base of the ribs, to the side, and just feel. Feel the ribs in there. Make sure you're not putting too much pressure. Breathing in, just feel the pressure of the ribs expanding into the ball a little bit and very gently sink. Don't go full gear unless you're a super pro. You've been doing this work for a long time. Breathing in. Breathing out, just feel those ribs and almost think of widening them, pulling them a little bit more to the side. One more time, breathing in, breathing out, and roll a little bit further up. Now the ball is on your rib cage to the side of the midline. So it's kind of before your sternum, on the side of the sternum actually, cradled in there. So you're in the ribs proper. Breathing in, press into the ball. Breathing out, breathing in, feel the ribs being stimulated, strengthening the bones, strengthening the diaphragm, strengthening and lengthening the rib cage. See if you can get a sense of the legs really lengthening away so the whole front of the body is very long. Breathing in, widening and moving those ribs out and up, and breathing out. And then roll off the ball, lie on your back, and see what effect this has on your spine. See what effect you have here. This work, all of the abdominal work, can resolve sciatica problem, go figure. Not really, if you really think about it. If you're crunched over and pulled down, the pelvis is going to be all crunched and pulled down. Everything kind of collapses. Notice how your shoulders feel and your head feels. You may find yourself much more able to be very open without having to do anything. And then just for a minute, come up to sitting and see what it feels like. You can even stand up if you want to see what it's like to, in fact, let's do that because it can be dramatic. How you feel when you stand. Because there's a natural and spontaneous lift that comes up. Many older people that I've worked with that are really collapsed over and they find it so stressful to lift up and they think they need to get strong. When we do the abdominal work, suddenly they stand up and they can breathe and they can be vertical and it's like, what happened? And I thought I had a weak stomach. Sometimes we need the length. So that's the rectus abdominis band, front band. Everybody wants tight six-pack. We want nice long six-pack. So our next one are some of the obliques. So the external obliques, they are a huge band of muscle. Whoa, do I have what did I do with my notes? But that's okay. The obliques, their insertion area is in the side back rib. So you know where you have your shoulder blades start? It's a little below. I can't remember which the ribs are, but just to give you an idea, it runs from those ribs on the side. So it's kind of back side area. That's where we'll be starting. And then it wraps around. And there's a huge band of tissue in the front. It's a type of a fascia that runs from the rib cage to the pelvis. So it comes around all these different bands and wraps around and all the way to the top of the pubic bone. So it's a girdle-like structure. And it helps with rotation and shifting. It also pulls, it has this, it encourages this downward movement. And the external obliques, internal obliques have the rotation as well. We'll do both of these, but that one has the lifting energy. So it will rotate and open you up. This will rotate you and bring you down. So they're amazing, amazing muscle patterns that we have. We never even think of them, but they are very powerful. So we are going to start. I'm actually choosing to work with a slightly larger ball. I like working with larger balls. You can work with the black ball as well. They're both fine. So keep them both at hand if you decide you want one instead of the other. So we will start. Be on the side ribs just as your start point. So you want to be fully on the ribs. It's a transition from ribs into the waist area. That's always the area you want to be very respectful. And then a little bit back. So I'm back and this leg is long. And I want to just feel the pressure into the balls. I'm stimulating that place where the muscle starts. It's where it's attached, where it's inserted. So you want to feel that area. It's below the shoulder blade. If you're on a bigger ball, if you feel the shoulder blade, no problem. Take a breath in. Breathing out, push into the ball. So remember, in all this work, getting the stimulation right where the muscle starts and the bone that it's connected to is very key for starting to send this message down the muscle shaft that it doesn't have to be so tight. So it's a very, very important part to spend time in order to allow that communication to start, and then to get the tendons that are attaching in to start to soften and decalcify and remove all the adhesions, and then the muscle is free to start to elongate. That's kind of why we always do this. We don't just rub the muscle. So putting pressure into the muscle, into the tendons of where we start, you start rolling to the side. So just get, and as you're doing that, you're also rolling on a diagonal down, because we're aiming this first roll through to come below into the navel area. Big breath in here, breathing out, lengthen and press into the ball. Breathing in, lengthen, breathing out, press into the ball. Breathing in, breathing out, pressing into the ball. And now with care on a diagonal, it's going to go this way. Start rolling forward. So you're going to roll over the rib into the tissue below it. So you want to kind of get right at the base of the rib. I hope your balls aren't too strong. So I'm now kind of on this diagonal. Breathing in, breathing out. I got a little bit of rib and a lot of waist kind of band below. I want more pressure into that. I'm being very perceptive about my ribs, just feeling them. One more time. Breathing out, lengthening. Every time you breathe in, get that length, you can even work with the leg. Breathing out, and now I'm rolling further forward and inward. So I'm moving towards the midline of the body, wrapping it down. So I'm following the shape of the muscle and sinking in here. So I'm on the side again, breathing in, breathing out. I think the external obliques are under the rectus abdominis, or they're attaching to the side of them. I don't remember. Sinking on down. And one more time, breathing in and breathing out. Really letting that muscle soften and lengthen and release. Whoa, excellent. Coming back. Moving into the next aspect. So we started high in the ribs. Now we're moving halfway down. So we're kind of in the low band of the rib cage, and we move almost to the side. We're not on the side, but almost to the side. So breath in here, lengthen. See if you can also get a sense of opening up the ribs, sinking down. Breathing in, sinking down, creating more and more length. So as you do this work, you'll know the area you're looking to open and create length with. So you want to start tractioning unless it's too intense. And then you just kind of let the sink do the magic. And now slowly I'm starting to go forward. Now I'm aiming lower down, below the navel, around the navel. And I'm starting to roll over the rib into the tissue in front of it. So it's grabbing my waist, breathing in, breathing out, sinking in, breathing out, creating length in the ribs in relation to the waist. One more time, breathing in, breathing out, and rolling even further. So I'm starting to roll into my belly, in towards the navel and below it. My ball is bigger, so it covers more space. And here we go. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So you're also encouraging the organs to kind of be massaged and soft and stimulated. Roll a little bit further down towards the midline, below your navel. This will be the secondary place. Breathing in, breathing out into the ball, sinking and lengthening down. Whoa. Breathing in, breathing out. You may be able to go deeper now because of all the work we've already been doing. And breathing out. Wonderful. And our last one will be the low area of the ribs on the side. And we will go, I'll grab a ball. We roll all the way down on a diagonal towards the area of the pubic bone, in there, in between the groin and the pubic bone. So we come down to there. So let's get just off the side right at the base. Now, really careful right here in the ribs. There's that back side floating rib. It's not attached to anything, so it's a more vulnerable rib for to receive pressure. So check your sensations. Be aware of your own body. Big breath in, inflating, filling up. Breathing out, sinking into the ball. Breathing in, nice and long. You can even lengthen the leg out. Breathing out, only sink in as much as you feel you're ready to. Maybe no sinking, just feeling, putting contact, touching the area. One more time, breathing in, lifting, opening, expanding, breathing out. And now with care, not too much pressure, rolling forward, and the diagonal gets longer. So I'm going down the side of my waist, and let's stop here, aiming in towards the pubic bone, long diagonal. Breathing in, breathing out, making sure every time I breathe in, I lengthen and pull the rib cage away from the hips. Breathing out, sinking in a little more. One more time, breathing in, breathing out, and then rolling further forward and inwards, aiming down to the side of the pubic bone, passing inside the hip bone, that bulging area on the side. Let's pause here, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. One last time, breathing in, breathing out, and now rolling inwards towards the pubic bone. Just that final place. And breath in, where it inserts, breathing out. Amazing, big, huge band of muscle. Breathing out. Last one, breathing in, breathing out, sinking in as much as you're ready to sink and come off the ball. And we have the other side of our external obliques. So I'm just trying to think if I should be in a different way with the camera. If I did, anyway, I'll just turn this way. I was just realizing as I rolled forward that hard to see. So we start shoulder blade, a little bit down. So we're not on the shoulder blade. You want to find that place, that ribby place below the shoulder blades. And then just a little bit to the side. So beginning to roll to the side. So back side, diagonal area. And the first row will be from there, going down just below the rib area towards your midline. Second one will be lower. Third one will be even lower, base of the ribs all the way down to the pubic bone. So here we go. Breath in, breathing out as you lengthen out as much as you can. So you're opening up the ribs even. You're trying to get as much length in the ribs. Breathing out, putting pressure in, sinking in. Breathing in, breathing out, and now starting to roll onto the side and then a diagonal down. So we're still on the ribs. Breath in, breath out, sinking into that ball. Breath in, breath out into the ball. Rolling a little bit more. One more time, breath in and breath out. Now, I'm moving down, but stay there unless you adjust. I started to roll down. Carefully move across the ribs into the fleshy part. So you kind of just respectfully go through there. So you're under now. Breath in, wrapping around, breath out. This is, again, very intense area because all of the diaphragm attachments are around here as well. There's so many different layers of muscles. Our body has layer after layer after layer after layer of muscular structure for us to be able to move so well and protect our organs. Come further forward and in towards the midline. So now your side of your midline. Breath in, breath out. This is an area that's very tight for me. Must have been all the Pilates I've done in my life. Breathing out. One more time, breathing in, breathing out. And I love Pilates, but there's a lot of forward movement. Whoa, I just released a little bit further. Okay, coming back off the ball, moving down the ribs some. So lower towards more like the base of the ribs, and then slightly on the back part, back corner of your ribs between the back and the side. How about that? Breath in. Remember this point to this point. How much can you open in there? Breathing out, lengthen. I'm stretching my leg out as well. Breathing in. Breathing out. Really sinking into that area. One more time. Breathing out, and now starting to roll forward and down. Remember, it's that diagonal down. So you're still on the ribs, maybe touching the base of the ribs. Be respectful there. Breath in. See if you can inflate into the ball. Breathe in. This will strengthen your breathing. Breathing out, feeling that ball, the rib on the ball. One more time. Breath in. Breath out. And now move further forward and down. Be careful as you roll over the rib and you're aiming on that diagonal towards your navel. So your kind of side area. Into it. Breath in. Breath out. Stretching and lengthening the muscle. Stretching and lengthening the front of your body. One more time. Breath out, lengthening the leg away as well. And then roll right in towards the midline. And one last time. Breath in. Breath out. You want to be on the side of the midline, in the area of the navel. Last one. And out. Really see if you can sink a little bit more if your body's ready for it. And then coming back. Last one is the low ribs. So this is where your floating rib is, right at the bottom. It just goes part of the way out. And then you aim all the way down towards the pubic bone. So diagonal, Low ribs, don't put full weight into there. As you cradle into that area, you can also literally get a sense of how to widen a little bit. We want to take the back and widen it. We want all of this area wide, more room for the ribs. So you can just have that intention with the pressure. Breath in, breath out, widening. If I kind of roll a little bit, I can literally feel myself stretching. Breath in, breath out. One more time. Breath out. Now you're going to roll with a lot of respect, not a lot of pressure, forward and down. So you're going to roll off the ribs till you're just in front of the ribs. Big breath in, so we're aiming down. It's a longer diagonal. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Really great place to start to stretch the side ribs even more way. Breathing in, breathing out, and now roll even further forward and down. So you're aiming on that diagonal toward your pubic bone. So move maybe into the waist area, sinking. Breath in, breath out, sinking and wrapping around the bone. Breath in, breath out, wrapping and sinking around the ball. And one more time. Breath in, breath out, expanding the ribs away from the ball and roll further down. So rolling maybe under the navel on that diagonal, not quite at the pubic bone yet, but kind of in that direction. Again, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. One more time. Breathing in, breathing out, and roll down till you feel yourself getting to the side of the pubic bone. Take a moment here. Breath in, press that bone away from you. You want length. So you're really lengthening and tractioning the muscle so it restores full range of movement and freedom. It decompresses your bones and really gives you a lot more mobility. Okay, off the ball. Lie on your back for a minute. Feel your body. Just feel what's going on. What does your waist feel like? What does your pelvis feel like? What does your breathing feel like? It can be quite spectacular. And then come back up. And our next one, I'm going to grab my notes. The internal obliques are a huge area, and I wanted to be sure we go through everything. Okay, so where it is the beginning, the attachments, like where the bone it starts. So remember, the first one was to wrap forward at rotation. All of them are about rotation and about giving you space between the ribs and the waist. And the first one is very much to do with the forward aspect. This one is to do with lifting and opening aspect. Both key for posture, key for healthy lower back, key for healthy hips. I mean, it's spectacular how many things it's affected. Sciatica is very often aggravated or turned on because of these muscles not having full range of movement. So this one is pubic bone. It goes up. This is where it all is attaching up to the crest, up to the top, and all the way around. So it's a huge foundation, lots and lots of attachments here, all the way around to this tissue. There's a very thick fascia tissue that runs between the pelvis and the rib cage. So it's attaching all the way through there and onto the bones at the top of the pelvis. So we will start, let me just double check here, roll back to the crest. Okay, roll to the stomach. So now we're going to be moving, kind of before we were moving down, down, down. Now we're going to stimulate this whole line. Here we are, my ball. We're going to stimulate this whole line up and across. And then we're going to be rolling it down, coming up a little bit more, rolling it down, and the third one at the top, rolling it down. So we are, it's almost like energetically we're reversing what we just did, but because we're deepening with the internal obliques instead of external obliques. So again, you can work with a smaller ball, you can work with the bigger ball. I'll work with a smaller ball just to kind of compare things for myself. I love doing a lot of this work sometimes with a variety of balls, just to see what it's like. And at different times and when I'm in different conditions, you choose the ball that feels the right one for me. So we will start on our pubic bone. Again, settle into that bone. You want to feel it. And now you probably loosened up a lot of these connections, so it may feel more able to get this sense of actually lengthening. It needs to kind of move downwards, or it has that possibility. Sometimes if we're doing a lot of tucking or flexion work, it can get sticky. And then roll a little bit on a diagonal out towards the groove in your groin between the ball and your front of your pelvis, the bony structure, the hip bone. Breathing in, breathing out, sink into that area just above the groin. It can be very tight. Breathing in, breathing out. Now another thing that you can do is take this leg and extend it so you get a huge traction. Breathing in, breathing out. I often get a lot of rush of heat as I'm opening up areas of tissue that are very tight, and I know the circulation has just gone into areas that were kind of more congested. Keep rolling up, and you want to cradle just inside the hip bone. So that bulging area, you're kind of, if I was to show you, here's my hip bone, so I'm just inside it and I'm pushing into it. So it's like you're inside of a bowl and you're pushing into the side, inside of that bone. So you're stimulating it. Breathing in, as you breathe out, you also try to wrap the bone around the ball and you press into the side if you can. Breathing in, breathing out, sinking into it, and imagine literally widening your hips and your pelvis. And believe it or not, that's a good thing to do. And very often, for some people, the stomach can be so tight, it's pulling those two bones very close. It affects the hips, the lower back, and all the rest of it. Now, here we go. You roll right around that bone and then onto it. So now you're on the bone. Depending upon what the availability of the bone is, it may be, if there's more weight, it's not as accessible, but it's there, we all have it. So you want to feel as though you're really pushing into the middle of the ball. Breathing in, now I'm lengthening the leg as well, and stretching my stomach, and pressing into the ball. One more time, lengthening the leg, pressing into the ball and starting to roll onto the crest. So I'm rolling onto the side, top of the pelvis, bony structure. You want to be on the bones. You're stimulating all of that. Breathing out. Sometimes a small ball, you just can't get enough into it, and a bigger ball gives you more mass. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out, and now keep pushing into the ball and see if you can roll the top of your pelvis, roll onto the back. So all of this is where all those tendons attach into the bone of the pelvis. Big breath in, breathing out, so I'm halfway towards my sacrum or the midline. One more time, breathing out, pushing into the ball, roll a little bit more back towards your midline. So moving towards the spine. Now you want to be on the top of the pelvis, just to the side of the spine. Big breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. And then from here, I'm going to move back on my mat. I'm actually changing balls because I like the bigger ball better. It gives me more. It's a little bit higher up. I can sink into more. So that's also okay to change balls in the middle. Now from here, we're rolling back and we're going to roll towards the lower abdomen. And we're just going to move up and roll it. So pressure into the ball and start rolling it out. So I'm still at the top. I'm just thinking of the bigger ball. So you want to go 3/4 of the way. You're above the pelvis, but touching it. Breathing out. Breathing in. Lengthening. Breathing out. And one more time like this. Breathing in. Pushing in. And rolling in towards the stomach. Really wrapping around. And breathing in, breathing out. So you're kind of matching just above the pelvic bone or the top of the bony structure. Breathing out. One more time. Breathing out and rolling in, dragging the ball across towards just below your navel or to the side of your navel. You want to feel that area like a corset being wrapped in. Breathing in, lengthening, breathing out, sinking into it. Breathing in, breathing out, softening a little bit more. One more time. Breathing in, breathing out. Come off. Go back on your back, move up a little bit more. So now we're kind of higher up into the muscles. Next to the spine and to the side of the spine. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I'm finding with the big ball, it's a little easier for me like that. Breathing out to have that pressure into it, and here we go. You're rolling onto the side. I'm lifting my ribs away from the ball, and we'll stop at the side point. Breathing in, making length, breathing out. My intention is to be moving forward. Breathing in, I can literally feel the wrapping forward part. Breathing in, breathing out, and now rolling this ball under my ribs. Make sure it's under the ribs and wrapping it towards the midline. So just off the side, right below in that valley area, coming into the front of the body. Softening in. Lengthening the front. Softening, wrapping. One more time. Breathing in, breathing out, and rolling the ball all the way towards the midline. So it's nice and deep in that area. Last time, breathing in, sinking, very intense. I'm hoping it's kind of shifted a lot, softened a lot, and opened a lot for all of you. One more time. Breathing out and coming off. And we will do the other side of the internal obliques. So we start on our pubic bone. I think I will take the ball, place it on the pubic bone. So you want to feel that pressure and length. And then roll off the pubic bone just to the side of it. So we're aiming towards the, on a diagonal, up our groins towards the hip bone. So we're in the groin area on that diagonal from the pubic bone. Breathing in, breathing out. You want to still feel the pubic bone, but the pressure is also in the belly area. Breathing out. And if you hook your toes and lengthen the leg, you can get even more traction. Breathing out, sinking, and now rolling up on a diagonal towards the hip bone, but you're in front of it. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe even pushing into the side a little bit, widening the front of the pelvis. One more time. Breathing out, and now roll right up onto that bone. So these two bones in the front of the pelvis, they're kind of a little bit more sharp. Breathing in, breathing out, sinking into the ball. If you want to get more oomph to it, if you hook your toes and stretch your knee, you can get even more length in the whole shaft of the muscle and actually into other muscles. This will, I can feel it in the front of my thigh, and my quads, and my hip flexors. That's not the internal obliques, but they interconnect. Everything's interconnected, so it's amazing how much you start to really navigate and understand all these parts of your body. Now you're going to roll upwards towards the pelvis, the top of the pelvis. So you're really going around the bony structure. So let's pause here. Breathing out. So my ball is down there at the kind of riding. If I was to have it, it's riding the top of the pelvic structure. Sinking in, putting pressure into the bone, stimulating the bone. One more time. And now slowly rolling, putting pressure into the bone, rolling up on the top of that crest. And we'll just pause here. So beginning of the back, but you're still on the bony structure. You're still stimulating it. It may even help on, if I lift, I can get even more pressure and length. Breathing in, keeping that pressure into the ball. One more time. Breathing out in length and rolling a little bit further back. So I'm riding the top of the pelvis towards the spine above the sacrum. So bony structure beginning right where it ends, it goes into the waist. This is our last one here. Breathing out, pressing into it, separating them where the muscles attached to the pelvis, creating more mobility, more getting rid of adhesions, anything stuck, anything glued, so that the muscle can be freed up. Now, we'll start our forward movement. So I'm switching over to my bigger ball. And you want to go right where you were, but a little bit higher up. So that's our start point. And now the intention is the rolling forward. So you hook the ball into that area and a little bit forward. Breath in, push into that area. See if you can get as much traction as you can. Breathing in, I'm literally pulling my knee and my rib cage away from each other. Breathing in, and I feel the separation coming into that area. Pause right here. So we're on the waist area band. The ribs are pulled away. Breathing out, make sure those ribs are pulled out. Breathing in, breathing out, sinking down, opening up the side ribs. One more time. Pulling the ribs away from this and rolling onto your stomach. Rolling onto your stomach and aiming in the area of your navel and just below. So you roll on, you kind of round down into the ball. Breath in. Breath out, sinking. Breath in, breath out, sinking down, deepening the position one more time. Breath out, and now roll right towards your midline. So you're also pulling all your internal organs around and removing adhesions and helping the muscle, everything kind of find their spot again. Last one. And sinking down as much as you can. Very good. Come off the ball. And let's go back. So we were at the top of the pelvis. Now we're more in the waist area. So you want to be, but the connection of the waist into the spine. So that area, really the middle of the body, waist area. Breath in, so we're stimulating the side of the spine, and if you lean a little bit in, you can literally take the side, the muscles on the side of the spine and the tendons and create width. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, and Drag all of that tissue. Be careful here, especially if the ball is bigger, to lift the ribs away. So you're rolling onto the side. Breath in, lengthen the ribs away and drape. Breath in and drape. And one more time. And drape, and now rolling forward. So you're going into the direction of the navel and just above it. Wrapping around, making sure those front ribs are not on the ball, but above the ball. And you're stimulating that area. Breath in, breath out, sinking into it. Any tightness, see if you can create length and space. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out, and now roll all the way forward, right towards the midline, side of the midline. One more time. Breath in, lengthen the whole front of the body. Breathing out, sink into this ball. Breathing in, breathing out into the ball, even longer. One more time. Nice length. Breathing out. Sinking as much as you're able to, and come off and lie on your back and just feel what this is all about. Nice and long. And now when you're ready, I hope you feel much longer here. Let's just stimulate the back of the spinal column. So useful because you've done such an opening in the front just to stimulate the whole column moving up. You can do it with a smaller ball, but if you have a silver ball, or those of you that get into it, this is a pearl ball, or a gold ball is even bigger if you see the difference in size. There's a lot of benefits to all of them, but if you have this size ball, that's great. You want to cradle it as low down into the base of the spine as you can. In fact, if you grab the ball and lift, you can get it right down there if you're flexible enough in the hamstrings. When you do this, can you feel how much lift there is in the front body? That should come very easily. Now, sink and put pressure into the ball. You want to just feel this pressure. You're not relaxing. Now I just relieve the tension. Now I'm actually lifting and putting my stomach in and pressing into the ball. So I'm just looking to stimulate the back spinal column, the bones in the back. Breathing in, breathing out, pulling my stomach to the back to the ball. One more time, breathing in length, breathing out. Now, lifting my buttocks a little bit, rolling down, dropping the pelvis down. And pressing, I'm not relaxing, I'm not letting my back arch, I'm actually looking to push the bones in and traction everything around it. Breathing in, tractioning the bones, lengthening out the lumbar spine, the area that we all get. A lot of people have lower back pain, and it's because of the stomach and the back muscles, and the fact that all this gravity, because our posture started collapsing, is now sinking into that part, and maybe the vertebrae are starting to get stuck together and the cartilage is getting squashed. So you move down a bit more. This is where I'll often get my hand here. I'm touching, and with a bigger ball, I can feel the ribs. Lifting up, breathing in, pressing my stomach to my back, and pressing into that area. Breathing in, pressing and stimulating it, but be wary of those floating ribs. Now rolling down more. So roll over the floating rib. Now you should be in the full rib cage area below the shoulder blades. Breathing in, breathing out. As you push into the ball now, you can see if you can get length. Now notice that's different from relaxing. That's a whole other ball game. I'm attempting to see how much length can I get in my trunk. Can I make the distance between my hips and my armpits and my ears longer? And then I'm using the diaphragm to really, and rib cage to put pressure in there. Now I'm lifting the bottom, and you roll down, so the ball is now coming maybe lower shoulder blades, middle shoulder blades. So let's bring the elbows up for a minute and pull the shoulders forward to widen the shoulder blades. Now take the arms out again so the ball has more space to go between the shoulder blades. Breathing in, breathing out, pushing in. The shoulder blades are nice and wide. Breath in, breath out. Nice wide shoulder blades. That's an area that gets very congested, and adhesion, stuck muscles. See if you can get that to open. Now, when we start to move up even more, imagine you're literally pushing each bone in your spine to make it longer. Lift up, push the bones. Imagine that spinal column getting even longer. Now I've moved to the middle of the shoulder blades, maybe to the higher up. And as you breathe out, push into that area. Imagine, I got this image of a mother cat who picks up her kittens by the neck. So this is where the neck, skin, and muscles gets attached. And for humans, we get very congested in here. So we want this to be nice and loose and easy so that our upper body is so floating upwards without restrictions. Lift again. Now roll in towards the neck. So top of the shoulders, neck area. Make sure you have a nice, sometimes I'll grab the ball and make sure it feels really nicely like I'm pushing the top of my neck up. On the inhalation, I expand. On the exhalation, I literally push my head back into the ball. I'm pressing in to stimulate and lengthen all of those muscles. Breathing in, breathing out, pushing into the ball. I'm also pushing literally my forehead down, so it helps restore the curve of the neck. Breathing in, breathing out. And stay where you are, but I'm moving back so that you can fully see, because the next part is super fun. So here you are. You want to roll a little tiny bit more so it really catches the top of the head. It's getting this occipital bone. It's like you're really lengthening it up. You can even grab your own ball and use it as a kind of wedge to get that traction. That area gets, again, short and tight. Pull the arms down and wide. Get your feet in and feel the pressure into the ball and lift your hips up. So when your hips are up, you can really push the shoulders down and pull the hands to the feet and push into the ball. You get a very nice stretch in the back of the neck and maybe into the top just before the shoulder blades stop. So you want to feel that stretch and then roll back down. So we'll do that one 3 times. Every time you check, the shoulders are wide and the arms are long. So take a breath in, push into the ball, and on the exhalation, lift the hips up and broaden your shoulders. And breathe out. And breathe in. Breathe out as you lift. Widening the shoulders, pulling them to the floor, pulling them away from your ears, stretching your neck out, doing any micro movements you want with your feet to get even more effective stretch and length in the neck, rolling down. And one more time like this, shoulders are very wide and roll up. Use your feet, and you can even push a little bit in different ways. You can push towards your head. The ball rolls down a little bit if that feels good. So you're rolling down towards C7, that bulging bone at the bottom. Roll down. Now, very careful. You don't want to lift your head off the ball because all those muscles have been opened. Grab the back of your skull, lift it with your hand, take the ball out and put your head down. So just for a minute, you want to see what it feels like to have your neck long and down. Just kind of relax for a minute. Feel your spine, stretch your legs out if they're still bent. It's fun to feel all of this length in the trunk. And then bend your knees, roll to one side, use your hands to lift yourself up, and come up to standing. And just see what you feel like. I hope you feel really vertical and like all this energy is just pushing you up. You almost can't slouch. That's what the miracle of this work is. And just take a few steps back and forth. Keep your eyes not looking at the floor, but at the horizon, which probably is a lot easier to do right now than it was before, because we were downward fallen people and now we've been lifted back up. So, thank you everybody. I hope you really notice a difference. This is intense work. I just have to let you know, if you've never done this kind of work before, you may be sore. And in that case, just let your body absorb it and rest, and don't do it again too soon. Later on, it will become your best friend. It is transformational on posture and verticality. It relieves so much back pain. So thank you very much. I'm closing the recording.